Okay guys, it's a nice evening here in Fallowfields. I'm just going to talk to you as I walk back about an attitude that I've developed regarding work that I think is really important. So, an easy trap to fall into when you work is to just sit down at your desk and go, right, I've got 3 hours, I'm going to do 3 hours worth of work, and then at 3 hours I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to, that's it. I'm going to, however much I get done in 3 hours, that's enough. And the problem with this attitude is it cheapens the work you do, because it doesn't really matter how hard you work in those 3 hours, because you're going to stop when you stop, where after 3 hours. So you can work really hard and put yourself through a lot of pain, and in the grand scheme of things, that's good because you're doing more work. But in the short term, it's actually no different as to whether you put in loads of work or not very much work at all. You've still done 3 hours worth of work. So, you ended up working, and what happens to me in this situation is I'll get distracted very quickly. I'll start going on my phone, because at the end of the day, there's no sort of targets to those 3 hours. There's no target of what to do in those 3 hours, and there's no incentivization for me to work particularly hard. So it's a bit of a non-starter, right? You need something a bit more complex. And the way I work now is I set a task with what I do. I mean, I think anything you want to do well in life, you have to do that. And I work until that task is done, and then when that's done, I stop. So today I had a chapter of my dissertation that I had to read through and edit. I thought it would take me the entire day. Actually took me around 2 to 3 hours, much less time than I thought it was. But then I was like, okay, done, finished. I don't need to do anymore, because it took less time than I thought it did, but I've done what I said I'd do. That's all that matters. And this is a much better way of doing it, because you just work so much more efficiently. Because if you have a kind of aim in mind that you're sailing towards. If I'd just said to work for 3 hours on the dissertation broadly, I probably wouldn't have got very much done, because like I said, I'd just be sitting there typing, there's no incentivization there. So, although it's much less attractive, because you have to sort of plan ahead a bit. I've had to think kind of what am I going to do tomorrow and the day after, and sort of, you work back in a sense that it is easy just to block off time and hope for the best. So despite that, I hope you can see the advantages to it.